Because resource distributions in the country depends on how much population they in Freetown, for instance, how much population they in Kono, how much population they in Cambia or Kwenadugu. This time they determine how even government they allocate resources, how if you want for engaging investment or you want bring investor, the type of business we want for do. Now there you able for determine who side ide and what's not the type of business where you go for go do, what you get for determine. So if you're not able to get an accurate data, then that is where the problem comes. You go do investments, you know they get the turnover where they expect, the business go fall, government go fail because government not go for distribute resources properly. Agreed. So with all of this happening, the statistics put onto government then justify why we need the midterm census. Now government see I'm viable, the president now come up with a proclamation and the executive not the act alone, it has to go through parliament. So if my brother talk about issue
but the president do two proclamations. There was once where he do before even the instruments was sent to parliament. We been get for do again before they send the instruments. Was it that the president wasn't advised well as well?
Well, what we want for understand first of all, preliminary work can be done. Just so that at least you're able to get the work properly.
But that was done after CSO and the opposition raised concerns, say no, because there is no instrument, constitutional until after they do the instrument. No,
well, those proclamations may not mean that the work has to go on. As a president, if statistics don't come brief the leadership of the country, first of all, the leadership therefore notify the country for get that awareness, say, this day about for go on. You understand? It not necessarily means say it is taking effect as he has said it, but due process has to be followed, which we do. We then take instrument to parliament, and all me expect when a very national instrument go to parliament, I don't care whose party, let we all work towards them, let it pass. What we for be focused on as a nation or as groupings, as parties. Now for all we make sure say let we get a credible outcome, we reflect with all, we'll go for help. We own development programs. I don't care if I'm not in a power ourselves tomorrow. I want for undertake certain investment programs. I will for know how many population they in Salon and which kind of investment I want for go take na Kono or Koinadugu, depending on the nature of
the political party we get the leadership in parliament. You don't think say you could have engaged, especially with the concerns coming from not only the main opposition, APC, but other political parties and from within, and even civil society. Could there not have been some level of dialogue and discussion? Usa will get to that point where they say everybody support this process rather than Usa is so right now.
But Lamrana, there is this parable way Chini Achebe say when a dry bone is mentioned, he said the old woman gets worried. Let's say even the leadership in parliament engage other members of other political parties. But if for any reason I think say such engagement get for do perhaps wrong things or get for expose wrong things that we maybe don't do, and by every reason this go get for expose me, sometimes I become a little recalcitrant, no matter whose level of engagement, no matter how civil you do in your engagement. I get something for cover, I just get for hide, I not go listen, I not go be I not go allow you for convert me and all. So let's say the leadership in parliament engage.
No, but let's agree that could have happened. Do you not think
but I am very certain the leadership not going to bring anything if you not engage with the leadership in the parliament. But if the leadership, the opposition leadership...
But we also the fight. We see the fights where up in Abintumani, parliament here, how the APC walk out of the old process and say, no, they don't agree with the process.
Well, reflect the parable I just pulled with Chini Achebe Giwi. Say when you talk of, when you mention a dry bone, the woman gets worried.
So as a political party, you not think say that because you expose the wrongs rather than their concerns are not legitimate.
Well, that's not the point. We are not even gearing towards exposing wrongs. But if somebody thinks they don't do wrong thing, and you want to do something for correct any anomalies in the best national interest, because somebody knows saying that the wrong thing, we don't do, if you feel saying expose you, expose them. Or you are, but we all understand, Lamrana, we even we say who in governance, we are really not perfect. And that is why we appreciate the work with the media they do, we appreciate the work with the civil society they do, and even the work with opposition they do, because we are really not perfect. Sometimes when we raise legitimate issues, we look at them, we say, no, this is legitimate, we try to get them right. Sometimes we see, so, okay, well, this is just been out, just so that you want for stock up government in progress and all, we're not good for the country. Sometimes we ignore that and make progress.
The concerns about the census hasn't only been concerns from the APC alone. Like I said, other political parties, including COP, including the European Union, even in the press release and say, no, they think say this is not timely, government not for go ahead with them. As a government as well, as a party within leadership, but I don't think say this could have, been something that you could engage and dialogue on and see reason on waiting at the concerns them and address them before going forward for legitimacy and trust in the whole process?
That would be the view of other institutions, but like how me and you two all know, say there are democratic institutions established and they have to do their job. And one of such democratic institutions now Statistics Sierra Leone. Lamrana, we cannot even make progress. First of all, if statistics data are not reconciled with National Electoral Commission's data, and not reconciled with the National Civil Registration data.
Okay, so this midterm census all therefore do with the elections? So
now I'm just saying, I'm just
asking too, if you get for do with the elections.
There is no way you're going to talk about statistics data or you're talking about elections, you know, talk about data.
Okay.
So law even talks, say, the work of statistics get correlations or get relationship with even distribution of boundaries depending on how populations are distributed. If you don't get any correlative effect, you cannot even make progress in governance.
Okay.
You know
so as a government, I think say this process for go ahead before the 2023 election.
When you say government, if I look at them from the expansive perspective, then yes, Statistics Sierra Leone, which is an integral part of government, an institution that is charged with the responsibility of giving us credible data for other development programs in the country. If them as a specialized body say, we cannot make progress as a government if we're not able to correct some of the anomalies where we get in with data, then whatever we do, it is still faulty. So why we not go punctuate and try to correct the faulty data where we get and get a better data where we able for help development.
And as a party, you yourself agree, say the country need this census before the election.
Not only we, even the very COP, SESF by whatever percentage, then try for put them, but then SESF subscribe to the fact, say, even though I listened to the COP representative this morning on radio saying now 5%, whether it is 1%, whether it is 5%, it is 2%, the fact that you acknowledge, say, there is fault, and that fault has to be corrected. And if you also relate that to what you get from the head of statistics, where it talks, say, there is a fault, and that fault is not centralized, it's distributed across the country, and some of them data, and you're not able to access them. So given that fact, say, all of we where they raise issues, no say there is a fault. So if there is that fault and it affects development, then we need to correct that fault and make progress as a nation.
The question what they ask that as a party, ruling party, I believe say we need this midterm census before the 2023 elections.
If by waiting statistics when the specialized body say we need that, yes, we need that.
Sidi, waiting on a suspicion.
Whether exactly, you don't see the actual reasoning behind this whole census. Now it just don't state.
Which one, sir?
Which is elections purposes.
But statistics then they say it's not about election. Then for them it's about development.
Listen,
statistics is an independent institution.
Listen, in the first place, we get to understand, first of all, processes. Waiting then they say refer to as fault or error or something for hide. It's really not what it is. Now lack of understanding and probably some amount of dishonesty they happen here. There is a threshold where they take statistical data for communities where they between 80 to 120. And in some cases you will have villages where the household now meets that threshold, the 80 to 120, where in that case you get for combine couple of villages for meet that threshold. And in that case, the codification will be different from the normal coding. But of course, you have a situation now wherein everybody in a statistics salon don't be replaced. So they brought in a consultant for can try for figure out. And he explained to them that because, you begin for combined villages, for meet that threshold, the coding be different, so you need for decode. And since people who did these jobs are no longer with you, the only way, go back to those villages and count.
But nationally, Sidi, it's very much clear that all census was challenged. Civil society challenges, like you're challenging now, political parties challenge it, but you went ahead and did it.
Lamrana, the whole, it was first of all the decennial census, and the preparation began on years before even the census commenced. And you get several players. People brought issues. Why make it not reach to the level where you asked earlier, say they not call? Because when the issues were brought up, they were addressed. As they bring the issues, they not ignore the issues.
They were ignored,
They not ignore the issues like we see now. So
they were not even engaged the opposition. Then to a point,
Professor Bob Kande was part of the advisory committee.
Just as Richard Conte is part of it.
He was, and he attended meetings, and he was part of the process till the end.
Okay.
So,
but the SLPP, the opposition, then challenged the process. Stayed so with the census, they go on, and they challenged it. They said it shouldn't go on. But you went ahead and did it.
The issues were brought, and the issues were addressed, unlike what we are seeing now, where the issues completely ignored. And you know, what's important, Naya, is that the issues we don't raise, not only we don't raise them as political party. So this is not even something political. Yes, we are the main opposition, we raise the issues, but these same issues have been raised by institutions. We're not political institutions. Institutions, we're not independent institutions. Institutions also, we're not even local institutions. Whether international institutions don't raise these same issues, and they have been ignored. And let me tell you this. Just like how they tell you, this type 3A, you know,
so
3A, when they talk about, say, oh, something for high. No, I mean, it's just coding issues that could have been amended if then we bring the right people for decode. And that is one.
Make sure, say, they enforce the laws of this country. So whether they get directives or not, as long as the actions of every citizen, right, they infract the existing laws of this country, the police get right for calling to questions. They can do that proactively.
So what's justify when you say somebody can be arrested if they say let them people not take part by the process?
Lamrana, I know they with the Census Act now, but the Census Act, if my memory serves me well, section 14 and 15 make provision say they obstruct the work of a census.
Okay.
Or census officials, especially when they work with and they dispense a lawfully,
you should not obstruct.
Yes, it's lawfully carried out.
So, but that different from saying don't take part in the process.
Now obstruction.
Say
obstruction.
For say let them not count me.
Technically, yes. Now obstructions. First of all, let you even say let them not count you. It's a directive contrary to the. I mean, it's an instruction contrary to the directives of the president.
Okay.
Yeah. That in itself an infractions of the law, right?
So now based on that, the police they act now, we don't invite.
Donna one. There is a statutory instrument to the effect where constitutes the laws of this country. You understand? There is a constitutional provisions that the work the census is doing is a legitimate work.
Okay.
So for any individual citizen incite, right, the population of this country as against the laws of this country, as against the lawful directives of the president, that's an infraction of the law, now lawlessness down there. And there's one thing, as a good citizen, we are morally bound to abide by the law. Because only when I keep me on side of the law, you keep your own side of the law, CD gets right for enjoy the laws of the country.
Okay.
But if I decide, say, I incite you for go against the law, one way or the other, you infringe on the enjoyments and rights and privileges where CD is supposed to enjoy under the laws of this country.
CD.
And this now this stage, government they come in and then say, no, Lamrana, you have to be forced to comply by the law.
CD, una flout the law. It's like according to the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs.
They flout the law from the beginning.
No, but you're inciting people. You're telling people not to take part of the process. But you're telling people say not take part of the process. And imagine you get a very gullible public now this country. Una they puts the life of their enumerators them into risk. When they go to communities, they might be attacked as well.
No. Nobody not tell anybody say attack anybody.
No, but indirectly, if you're telling people,
all we are saying. From the beginning, I mean, the Deputy Minister don't emphasize a lot about law. And this has been our point from the beginning, that let us ensure we follow the instruments to the letter so that at the end of the day, this whole process can be acceptable by all.
No, but the SLPP then disagreed with you, but they never called their people not to take part in the process.
Because every issue they brought as far as it's related, and there was no, first of all, there were no...
They challenge you even up to the outcome. Let's make something clear.
When they talk about the law,
they challenge the old process, even to the point where when I announced the results, they went ahead and challenged it, said no, they're not accepting.
Yeah, but then any part of that been dealt with not the law they challenge? No.
They challenge a lot of things.
No, but they're not challenging anything we be for we related to the law.
So why not make your point and not tell the people?
And we did.
So why? What's the rationale of telling the people?
Why you want to give legitimacy to something where you know say not proper legally?
Why not allow the people to decide that? And why are you telling them?
They get the option.
So you agree with what the minister they say incitement?
We don't incite anybody.
You have.
We don't incite anybody.
Okay, Lamrana, let me say something.
So are you surprised that then they don't invite one people? They don't arrest one people them and invite the Secretary General?
First of all, on which basis we don't know. We don't know why they arrest
police say now on national security
exactly.
issues.
So it's not the national security issue they need for tell we. I mean these are the things. I mean you talk about somebody enjoying rights. You understand? You just go arrest 2 citizens, the normal you say on national security. You invite the Secretary General of the main opposition, you invite the chairman and leader of another opposition party, you say on national security issue, and you not state which national security they don't breach. You know, so these are all the things.
Okay.
But the fact is, there has been no incitement.
And understand by our position.
Oh yes, this is not party position at the highest level.
Okay, Leema, quickly let me ask you this question. In 2016, let me read from the Global Times. SLPP discussed flawed census with diplomats. It was reported by Lamrana AYV, and it says the main opposition Sierra Leone People's Party yesterday pointed out flaws in the 2015 population and housing census in a detailed presentation by its technical committee to members of the international community at the Santana House in Freetown. In his remarks, the chairman of the program, Dr. Abbas Bundu, said that the country has many political parties, but only 2 are represented in parliament, the APC and SLPP, noting that the SLPP's decision to challenge the provisional census results is not for the party, but to seek the real interests of citizens in terms of development and advanced political agenda for the country, since donor partners' help is based on the real statistics of the country. I'll read the final part. We say, Dr. Bundu said that since they have rejected the results, it is not the end and that they will not give room for another extension of the life of Parliament and the presidency when they expire. We are prepared in pushing on with 2018 based on the existing numbers of seats in Parliament. When I self-challenge the last census, yes. But no one was arrested. No one was invited to the CID or police headquarters.
No, you don't read the press release. I was in that conference directly, and you yourself know, say we not get to that stage so we incite the public. Say.
No, but he is saying it's not an incitement. They're telling their people don't be part of the process.
I come, Lamrana. I'm going to give you a clear analysis. We in self-buying conscience, we get for satisfied with that, right? We did here. We are not just talking at random. Whatever happens, you the moderate we for talk. Otherwise, I'm going to interject in discussions in such a manner where people, the public, not going to understand. But you are moderating us, which means it's a procedure we are following. Follow we able to understand, we say better, and let the public understand what we would say here. Now, taking cue from that particular reference where you take you back. Now, Lamrana, we are talking here of a situation where you get constituencies, and today we then get parliamentarians in a parliament here. When a 2,000 population bring in a parliament, as against the backdrop, say, other constituencies, and they will get up to 19,000 votes, but they're not able to be qualified for be elected for parliament. You get other constituency parliamentarians that will get up to 25,000 votes, then they together with members of parliament. In those areas, you get 25,000 population votes, people will get even 19,500 on the camp parliament, as opposed to you get 2,000, you understand, population, then membership and then a parliament. So now, if you want to do development programs today, you want to come across the country, you the under supply, you get 25,000 population by also doing an equitable distribution, so you get 2,000 populations. Now, let's move from that. Let me come to they talk about the process of taking the statutory instruments to Parliament was in itself lawless. Now, there is a procedure in Parliament that when you take statutory instrument in Parliament, you lay them there. If you go through 21 days period without any objections, any issues for debate, then it becomes law. So if government, the president don't sign a proclamation or a statutory instrument, they don't carry and go for lay in a Parliament. They understand the procedure. All they could have done if they have issues, let the instrument be laid, and then they raised their objections.
They did, of which they did.
They raised their objections.
Of which they did.
You understand? They did not do that.
No, they did.
No, what I'm saying, they did not do that. Then challenge and if confusion, if facts.
That was the first part.
Yes.
That was the first part at Miata Conference Center. When they came to Parliament, they sat. I can recall, I watched that story. I watched it live actually. When the leader of the opposition stood up and challenged what you're saying now in Parliament, say they reject the way it was laid and they reject it. It did it in Parliament.
Well, it's not about the way it was laid. First of all, the way the issues, the circumstances around the instrument being laid in Parliament. I must say this, that as a law enforcer, now just because we get a magnanimous leadership in Parliament, otherwise, those MPs will obstruct or even tear a statutory instrument signed by the President of the Republic, right?
Then for the in jail.
I've already know they were going to be arrested, honestly. But because
on
of
the directive?
Well, on the directives of the law, right? But on the magnanimity of the leadership in Parliament, being able for even apologize on their behalf publicly. And in democracy, sometimes you get for accommodate some of their excesses, then they follow on and move as a nation. You understand? But you not get any right under whatever circumstances. When we are in opposition, when I want to criticize anything with the president, first of all, I got a very clear understanding on waiting they come from the president directly, how I want to address the president in speech, as opposed to when I want to look at the government. You understand? I know the immunities around the presidency. There has not been any single time when I had a look at President Nkrumah in issues I go directly on the president. No. So I go Lamrana. I go look at I go get me own way where they go, what they circumvent around in discussions for bring and look at government. But for let you go to that extent for chair proclamation signed by the president, that are lawlessness to the highest degree.
So Leema, why not
but we accommodate that
than arresting people?
Which one, like which process?
This
No. The point is, what you see the Nogobo understand is not to incitement. The incitement are incurrent offenses. You understand?
So the people arrested, they've been arrested for incitement.
Which one?
The two APC executive members for McKinney.
Well, the police will clarify that because they are the professionals who are able to understand the bit on which we are only on policy side of things. That, of course...
but you believe they should be arrested?
Of course. If you incite the public for go against the laws of the land, you are creating the room for obstruct my own peace and put my own security at risk.
So you don't think that your opinion they can influence the actions of the police?
Well, if you influence them, you know they influence them for the wrong reasons. They influence them for the right reasons, you understand? Because here is a situation where we live in a society where people talk so much about rights to such an extent that perhaps the level of knowledge and advancement of the police, even for able to decipher the too many talks about rights and also law enforcement, even in circumstances where citizens fail to be good citizens and comply with the laws of the land, that where therefore enforce sometimes perhaps gap can occur. And when those gaps occur, that is where you at the policy level get for even give directives, whether by opinion or whatever. But the other thing also will not get for rule out. I am a citizen like any other citizen in the Republic of Sierra Leone, and I have rights to participate in the political discussions of this nation in the best national interest. Not in any interest where it's selfish. Because, and first of all, I mean as somebody will get a lot of justice mind. If I have to do anything to you...
your opinion and statements can be read differently as a sitting government.
Which I certainly as you don't, whatever I say, it's a policy. You understand? Whatever I say, all right, you understand? I know it's a policy. That is why I am highly guided with what comes from me.
So anybody will not agree for let them count them, then go arrest them?
Certainly, at Lamrana, you might, let me tell you this is very clear, and I mean it, and that will be enforced. You understand? And I have no regret about it. Let's say if the APC come tomorrow to power, they want to do an inquiry on that, I will proudly go and tell them that if I am in governance today, you do the same thing, I will, in fact, if I have to order your arrest, I will order your arrest. And I have no regret about it, because the point is, I never did that when they were in governance. We had issues, we raised those issues, but we'll not go to that extent where we'll say, no, we will not participate, we will not go set confusion. In fact, there were times when them push follow jump in the street, create problem, cause issues, put other people in their own security at risk. Being a security expert myself, I know say, and as a leader, I got a responsibility for protect even the one that would follow me. So I know they make certain statement or certain discussion where they put the one that would follow me at risk.
I want to get something clear. So any citizen will refuse for be counted will be arrested.
Because you go against the laws of the land. And that's done a lawlessness down there. So you have failed to comply by the laws of the land.
They will be arrested.
Certainly.
So if the enumerator then can amuse and I say, no, I don't want to be part of this process, I should be arrested.
Yeah, sure. Because you are going against the laws of the land.
So, Sidi, are you ready for your members to be arrested? Are you ready to be arrested?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'm not taking part.
So you
I am not taking part.
And they tell people and say let themselves not take part, let them be arrested?
The party in position at that. The party don't put out a position and you know.
So you're not you're not concerned.
And they don't state the reason.
So you're not concerned as to how, as a political party, when a part of the governance process, you're not concerned how this decision could disrupt the whole process, could create confusion and all that.
We first of all, from the onset, we not want the process to be disrupted, and that
but this kind of decision they disrupt the process.
That is why from the onset we wanted to get it right. We're not going to rush the process through, and then in the end we say, oh, we will not disrupt the process. When we know you want for correct anomalies, you not go correct anomalies with even bigger anomalies. So you want for correct anomalies, we for ensure, say, as citizens collectively, like how we all on the raise with voice. I mean, we've been on this for over 2 years. Like how we all on the raise with voices for 2 years, not only political parties, even independent civil society organizations. For only seen, we address the issues, we ensure, say, yes, we all know, say, we are, you know, correcting the anomaly. So at the end of the day, we'll not go get into a situation where we know, say, we know, say, we not for be part of a process where
you are ready to take responsibility of any confusion where this will cause. The minister say any citizen will refuse for be counted, will be arrested.
In fact, they will come in as conspirators.
Okay.
But the one that will put press release were inside them, then are the principals.
Okay, so this might cause some serious confusion. Yeah. By tomorrow we get census night, by Friday the counting will start and the process is expected to go on. Una the main opposition, you get a lot of people where members of the APC or supporters of the APC. Una ready for take any responsibility of whatever confusion this will cause inside the country?
Already, the process don't cause a lot of confusion.
No, I mean that one way go disrupt peace and cause violence and all of that.
You didn't use or you not didn't use go cause any disruption.
No, but I'm asking based on what the minister said. I'm asking based on what the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs said, that your members, if they refuse, if they take on a directive as a political party and they refuse, they can be arrested. And
because that directive is going against the laws of the country.
And when a part of and make the announcement, you can be arrested too as conspirators. Right?
No, as principals.
As principals.
Yeah. Already, I mean, if any disruptions get for happen, I think the cause are.
So una ready for take responsibility.
They already don't begin arrest.
Una ready for take responsibility.
They already don't begin arrest.
Una ready for take responsibility.
The party don't put out in position.
So I'm asking, is the party ready to take responsibility or whatever action this will cause?
We position down there.
And it will not change.
We're not going to take responsibility for action we created by the government. We're not going to do that.
So what will you say to your members who the security forces might want to arrest because they refuse, as the minister say, because they refuse, were illegal because they refuse to take part in the process?
The position of the party is that because of the many problems we don't see with the census process, the party, they ask in members not for participate.
And they will be arrested?
That is the position of the party.
And they should be ready to be arrested?
That's not the position of the party.
Yes, you answer
So
something.
a compliance to that statement, you understand, it goes against the presidential lawful directives, it goes against the statutory instrument, it goes against the constitutional provisions of the country.
So Sidi himself
so that lawlessness, of course, he's emphasizing, he's re-echoing what his party's position has said.
You go give directive for your arrest?
Let's not me giving directives. It's the law that will instruct the arrest of those where they incite people not to participate on a lawful state functions, you understand? So basically, you don't say you are a deviant, you are a non-conformist, you cannot be in a country that is ruled by law, then you say you know they conform to the laws, to the dictates of the law. So if you become a deviant, you become a miscreant, certainly you get a place for B. So that certainly will have no regret about it.
As we round up, you know, the whole process of this census is not far again. Tomorrow, like I said, on Thursday is census night, Friday counting will start, and statistics earlier don't make them very much clear, say they're going ahead with the process. As political parties, is there any way there's going to be a dialogue to sort this out to see how we go get a credible process so everybody go be part of people are not arrested and people do not resist?
Well, in the first place, just like I want for re-echo within the communications officer say this morning, 98.1, the whole issue is not about even coercing people, right? The whole thing is not about that. The thing there is what we call a peaceful atmosphere for get a particular conduct done, but outside peace fail for like people willingly and voluntarily, you understand, become good citizens and comply to anything we're good for the country. Outside and fail, there's what we call, that's where the law enforcement comes in, you understand, to enforce compliance, you understand. So there are, where compliance willingly fail, compliance can be enforced, and that is the posture of the security forces for make sure say they make people they enforce people for make sure say they abide to what's in the law says. But however, make we go beyond that. As a citizen of this nation, today I'm in the driving seat. I know I will not be there tomorrow, but I want whatever data we get, make it be reflective for enhanced national development. Because whether they're in power or not in power, I want to forget a comfort to my life. So until tomorrow, God go bless me with business partners. I want to undertake development program. It depends on who side myself or investment program. It depends on who side myself go get profit. It go possible say if I go undertake development at Bombali, Port Loco, Cambia, as long as now I go able to make profit, I want to go invest it. So I want to get the correct data. You understand? We go able to help me. Where donor comes, researcher come, he want to engage in any development program, he want to engage, he know who side for go get the data. In terms of disease outbreak, you want to control that. It all depends on getting a correct data. So as much as we have been engaging as political parties, also I want to use this forum for let CD able to understand say what we are doing is not skewed to whatever worry they have, but what we are doing or what this government is doing or the statistics is doing is going to be done in tandem with what the law, what's in the law dictates, say for happen, and they happen. They don't do anything against the laws. So if we get issues, let we try for manage them and make sure say we get compliance to the outcomes.
Continue to engage
so that at the end of the day, but of course we have been engaging. But in such instances where at least then stand the ground say whatever happens, even though if na so the law say, na so not so the law say, we na so we they go. Well, when you become a deviant and you fail for compliance, so that is the point who say the government said, because when we are elected in office, we have a mandate. If we fail to perform our mandate, we are failing.
There are places believed to be stronghold of the main opposition, and I'm sure you know, we all know how the politics they play in the country and how you know, political parties can get control of the inside and is it that one get for give additional security on the inside and in the instance where people then refuse and to be part of the process?
Well, Lamrana, when you do law enforcement, there are many ways you do law enforcement.
Okay.
I don't come. Well, first of all, we don't say this to work with statistics they do. It's not just, it's really trying to even move from that paper-based thing and try to get electronic. So this midterm census, in terms of looking at the electronic side of it, of course, it's also another sampling we're going for help, you understand, for future census where we're able for capture with data electronically. You understand? So that is also another reason for this midterm census. So don't fail to realize that when then people are ready to go out, of course they get electronic gears. If you then come na you fail for comply, there's going to be record, and as long as that is recorded and the security forces then see and say it's worth it, come on, this is a nation. Arrest can be immediate, it can be deferred. It all depends on when the atmosphere and the circumstances is favorable.
Finally,
but that notwithstanding, I just want to say, this is our country. We all get responsibility because, first of all, above and above, even the law enforcement side of it, if you refuse for let them not count you, you try for deprive yourself for be part of any development program where government come with. You also try for deprive that community not for benefit from the distribution of the national resources. And you no want for deprive yourself for that. Now this is not the area where they call me brothers and where then the other political parties say, even though you get your interest, but you know for be selfish, even to the people the way you provide leadership.
Okay, thank you very much, Leema, for joining me in the program. Sidi, finally, is there any way where I think say can reach to an agreement or understanding with the government or statistics alone for let this process go ahead peacefully and go ahead so people can go take part in them?
Well, We wish, but of course, I mean, just from the actions where the government don't take, we know say themselves are not willing for that. They just want for force whichever now the decision where they don't take and go ahead. I mean, you can tell from the arrest we would already begin to see of the executive then other parts of the country, an invitation of leaders of political parties, so that clear that they already get a fixed mindset, no matter what issues, what concerns we raise, they're not ready for address the concerns, they are moving ahead.
So na stand by on a position?
Yes, for now.
Thank you very much, Sidi Yaya Tunis, Acting Publicity Secretary of the main opposition APC And Lahai, Leema, Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs and Publicity Secretary of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party. Quickly, Leema, before we go, very soon you get for contest for the SLPP position, right?
Certainly.
For the publicity position.
Certainly.
Are you one to go or you get people in?
I don't know it, but me, I'm a Democrat. I don't go for go win. If I lost back, I'm still a member of SLPP. I don't get a problem with that. I will still be relevant at the party.
After the elections, hopefully we will get you now. If you win, we will get you.
Yes.
Hopefully we can talk about the outcome of the election. But thanks very much.
I wish I'm local.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much to the technical team, the production team as well, and to now we via them for una day between the program. Otsi the return next week. Later we meet back. Continue for watch AYV.